Gary. Good afternoon and welcome to A Day in the Life, which we're presenting as part of National Apprenticeship Week. I'm David Wallace with the Office of Skills Development in the Arkansas Department of Commerce. Since 2019, by law, OSD has been designated as the lead apprenticeship agency in the state. The State Office of Apprenticeship is a part of OSD. The Day in the Life series is a production of the Arkansas Center for Data Sciences, a nonprofit advocate for the tech industry in the state, focusing on growing jobs in that burgeoning sector and supporting employers in every way, both companies with technology as their primary service, as well as other businesses that depend on technology functions in their operation. And after all, isn't that just about every firm in this day and age? Over the last 3 years, ACDS has been one of the most positive business stories in the state, really. And we are proud at OSD to work with ACDS as a close partner in expanding apprenticeship. Today's spotlight on our Day in the Life interview is in the construction trades, which remain as the backbone of registered apprenticeship. For most of the 85 years or so since the passage of the Fitzgerald Act that set up federal guardrails for apprenticeship in this country, the bulk of the programs have been in the trades, and that really remains the case, notwithstanding a focus in about the last 8 to 10 years on expansion of the apprenticeship model to other fields that have traditionally trained their talent in different ways. And we are in Arkansas involved in that expansion effort as well. But Arkansas currently has just over 7,500 apprentices registered with the U.S. Department of Labor. And of that, well over 6,000 are in the building trades, both the licensed trades of plumbing and electrical and the related trades of carpentry, welding, sheet metal, HVAC, etc. Well, joining me in the interview today is Rocky Mantooth, Apprenticeship Program Advisor in the State Office of Apprenticeship. And if it's lining up on your screen as it is mine, he's in the very upper left, and he has that nice OSD logo as a part of his background. Rocky has been in that role, Apprenticeship Program Advisor, since 2013. Before that, he was a practicing plumber himself. So he'll be interviewing Jonathan Zanca, a journeyman carpenter for one of the largest construction companies in the state, if not the largest, Nabholz Construction. And welcome to both of you. Give us a wave, guys. Okay, Jonathan is there wearing the yellow, joining us actually from his job site. So Jonathan, I'll get you started and Rocky will join us, but I want to get you started by asking you to just tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to this job as a carpenter and the role that you're in now. Tell us a little bit about that.
I got started back in high school. When I was in high school, I went through an apprenticeship program in high school, and I did all this in high school. And then I moved to Arkansas and moved away from it. And I kind of didn't know where to get into it. And then I started working at David's, got to know Rocky and, all that. And kind of talked to Rocky for a good 2 years. And it got to where that, I was like, well, maybe he knows something about it because, he works in that division of the state. And so I got to Rocky and I said, hey, so do you have any construction jobs that hold apprentice programs and all that? And, he asked me, what are you doing? Plumbing, carpenter, whatever. And I kind of gave him a broad range of everything, but the one that stuck out the most was the carpenter program. And so I got with him and he sent me basically a number to call, and I got Tracy's number and I called Tracy and I said, hey man, I got with Rocky from the state. He told me about you maybe have a job opening or something. And I called Tracy, and it wasn't at the time that, he didn't have a job for me, but a month later, he gave me a call and said, hey, can you come in and start, November 4th? And I was like, yeah. And from then on, it's just been history. And I got started with the apprenticeship program a year after I come to Nabholz. And after that, it was all history from there. And I just, I love it. I don't I don't regret coming to work every day. I love what I do. I work with good people.
Now
Real good people.
let me get this straight. You met Rocky in a burger joint that you were working at. Imagine that. Imagine meeting Rocky in an eating establishment. Rocky, you can unmute now and tell us how you remember that first encounter.
Well, actually, all Brandy and I were worried about was getting all the fries we could eat at Dave's Burgers that day. But Jonathan was working the fry line, and man, this guy could cook some fries. Let me tell y'all something. But he did a great job, and Jonathan was always out there visiting. He had a good personality, outgoing, was always talking with us. We were always teasing back and forth, and one day he came in. He said, "Hey, I'm serious now. I'm not just messing with y'all. I'm looking for a job in construction trades." And he said, "Do you have something out there?" I said, "Shoot, yeah, man. What do you want to do?" And so at that time, Jonathan kind of gave me a little idea of what he was looking for. And we put him on track for trying to get with them. And I'm certainly glad he found Nabholz, because it looks like it's been a perfect fit for him. And that's really what we're looking for, to get these apprentices a perfect fit if we can. So that's kind of where we went from there. Jonathan, let me ask you a couple more questions here while we're doing this. And it's kind of like this. I hear you talk about this and that, but a normal day of work, I know most construction trades, it's not necessarily normal anyway, but what are some of the normal things you do? Like when you go out on a job, are you building something, or are you tearing something down, or you fixing this? What kind of give me an idea of what you do on a normal day?
Normal day is we show up at the shop, we find out what we're doing, and then we get a materials list of what we need from the shop or from the store, or if it's already on the job. And then we go out to the job. We go and look at it to see what we need off the truck, because we drive service trucks. And we basically get started. If there's if there's like stuff we got to do before we can do the job, like wear our safety PPE, we put that on, make sure we have our gloves, glasses, and hard hat on. And now most places require masks, so we got to wear our masks and all that. But other than that, it's pretty much getting everything you need and being at the job the whole time instead of trying to find stuff as you go.
All right, sounds great. That's kind of what we were talking about. You kind of have an idea of what you're headed to, and the material list is always kind of ready to go for you. So a couple things here. I know I always used to enjoy my coworkers and interacting with the workers there on the job. Have you found that your coworkers are good folks to work with? You guys learning how each other work and how to make it all fit together? And so tell me a little bit about your coworkers and friends.
Man, I don't think I have a coworker I don't like. I don't have any coworkers I don't like. I mean, and everybody likes working with me, and it's kind of an environment thing. You gotta know how to make the environment to where somebody likes working with you. You can't be serious every day, all day. You gotta have some fun. You gotta make it fun. Crack jokes. Help the guy out that you're working with. Getting things done, but at the same time, have a little bit of fun out there. But like the guy I'm working for right now, me and him work together for, I've been with him for a while, working with him, and then working, not with him, but mostly I work with him. And, we have fun, we do things, we get things done. If it's a time crunch, we're, all in, get it done, and a lot of my coworkers, I do like a lot of them. And I can't say a bad thing about any of them. I just, I like everybody. I'm not a guy to hate somebody. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll be straight up. And I mean, everybody seems to like me. They give me a lot of crap, but that's just, if they didn't do it, they wouldn't like me. So
Right.
Just how it goes.
I always heard if you dish it out, you've got to be able to take it. And Jonathan, I know you dish it out because I've been there. So you're a good guy. All right, so let's ask this question. Let's do a little follow-up with that. I saw in reading some of your material that you had talked about before that you said 99, you can learn 99% more in the field than you do necessarily in school. And I think, when you say that, I'm thinking of on the job, you're learning exactly how to do it, what you're doing, but in the class, you're learning why you did it and how you do it. So kind of talk about that just a little bit.
Well, in the class, it's a lot of it's book work in the class, and I actually look back at the book before to learn how to do stuff. So the book doesn't. I mean, it's not all in the field, but most of it is in the field. A lot of stuff that I've learned with Nabholz and where I've been and everything has been in the field, but a lot of it a lot of it was in the class too. Just how to lay out a wall, how to set points to lay out a building, that kind of stuff. You can read about it all day, but do you really understand how to do it until you actually do it? And that's like me. I'm a visual person, so I got to see it visually before I figure it out. And that's one of my ways of learning is if I'm visually doing it myself, I can learn it. I can do it all day. But until then, I couldn't just, have somebody tell me you're going to do this, this, and this. And like, oh, okay, well, let's see it visually. So I kind of like to be a visual person, so.
Okay, so that kind of follows up with this. So I noticed in there too, you were talking about it was crucial for you to learn how to read the plans. Tell me a little bit about what learning how to read the plans means, okay? Because you and I kind of know what it means, but tell everybody else when you can read a set of plans, tell me what that plan is telling you.
Well, on a set of plans, you've got a scale, and usually most of the time your scale is a quarter equals a 1 foot or something. And that plan is going to tell you everything you need to know about the job, everything you need to know, what you have to do, and all that. And it's going to let you know measurements of what you've got to put up. And the plan is a very vital piece of a job to be able to read it and all that. And you get a lot of those folks that come into the trade that come from other places that are like, I don't know how to read this. You got to sit down and teach them. And that's one thing. It's a lot of people that when I worked with, a lot of the big company, a lot of people were like, how do you read these things? And I'm like, all right, well, let me show you, and plans are like a book. You got to turn pages, find numbers, and it can be confusing if you don't know how to do it. But thankfully for Tommy Stevens, he taught us a lot in year 1 and 2 about reading plans and how to do it and reading, the fine print, because that fine print is where the answers are most of the time.
All right, that's a good answer because I know plans can be a real issue. I know we used to see some folks with some reverse set of plans, and you'd see them over there kind of doing this number up and there, trying to figure those plans out. So sometimes plans can be your friend, and sometimes they can be a little tough.
Well, and you also gotta coordinate yourself to the way the building's laid out sometimes to see what you're looking at, but most of the time you can pretty much figure it out. If you know what you're doing, know what you're looking at, you can figure it out.
Absolutely. Good job, Jonathan. Okay. Let me visit with you a little bit about something here that I noticed in your deal also. It said that carpentry could be a family tradition in your family. So give me a little bit of history about who in your family have been carpenters and, kind of what it meant to you to get into the carpenter industry.
My great grandfather was actually a carpenter, but he wasn't it by trade. He was actually it by just kind of on the side kind of deal, and I've always liked it. I've always, enjoyed doing it, enjoyed, watching homes being built, watching that kind of stuff. And, just being, I'm just so active. I don't, the ADHD in me gets me, just kind of drives me, and I just like working. It's, what I do. I mean, most days at the house, I can't sit down for 10 minutes because I just want to do something or, go find something to do, go out in the garage and build something or, but it's just, I got a drive for it and I like it.
Hey, Jonathan, I know we like to talk about apprenticeship, and it's good to love what you do, but let's visit a little bit about your finances. Okay. So, and when you get into an apprenticeship program, each year you're going to get an increase in wages according to how you go up the scale with your apprenticeship program. Tell me a little bit about what it feels like to, know that if you accomplish that, you're going to get that increase in wage at each year break.
Yes, that is a very good thing, and it's a blessing to be able to come into a company that you can get your apprenticeship through, and then also work for them and do what you're learning in school. It's a real blessing, and the incentive is that raise, and that's what when I got hired on Nabholz, I was told about it. You get a raise every time you finish a year of school, and your raise will be basically your kind of your incentive to finish school and do it, and help you out financially at your house, at your home. And I can't complain. I'll be honest, I can't complain about it one bit, and I love it. I mean, it's the school is great. The teachers are wonderful. They teach you everything you need to know. uh so that's about, I mean.
Okay. One more thing before I hit you with the last question here in a second, but I know when you're on the job and you're doing all this work, is it you get provided all the materials and all the equipment you need to work? So is that, I mean, does that not give you a way to know that you can do anything you need to do on the job? All you have to do is request it. Do you work directly with any of your project directors, and how do y'all interact when you're on the job?
So most of the time, like, it goes back to what you said, a day in the life of a normal construction worker. Most of the time, you'll have a new job starting out. You will have a PM come out to your job, show you what you got to do, and provide you with the materials you need, or whatever information you need for that day, and give you everything you need for the day. And that's, and we call the project manager if we have questions or if we have concerns. But most of the time it's the project manager we talk to. A lot of the time it's the project manager we talk to, and they're usually the one in charge of the job, that one particular job or many jobs.
All right. And they're always open for suggestions. If you see something or some kind of issue, you always feel free to go to those guys, right?
For sure. They tell me, if you have a suggestion, let us know.
Yeah.
So, and they're not, it's, no question is a stupid question. So, and I'm one of those people that I ask questions. So
that's good. A question is good thing. They call me the question king at my house because I ask a lot of questions. So let me ask you this. I know that you've got your family, and you guys, you work for this to really to support your family. Give us a little bit about how your family has benefited from you getting this job and moving on with Nabholz.
Man, my family has really supported me in it, and I've really told them about everything when I was going through the apprenticeship program. I graduated, I was really, really communicating with them a lot. And my wife's been my biggest supporter on this whole ordeal. And I've seen, and I think she's seen it, but I have grown a lot since I've started working with Nabholz in just the construction trade. I have grown a bunch and really broadened my view on everything that I've wanted to do. And it's just it's a great thing. And I just feel like I got a lot of support. That's a big deal. I got a lot of support from my family. And at first, before I went to construction, I didn't. And then they seen what happened, and they're like, oh, okay, well, this is great. This is good for you. You're doing great. You're getting through this program. you're learning a lot, and everything I learn at work, I take home with me. I learn at work, learn stuff, how to do stuff at work. I take it home with me, and I use it at home if I have to. And I get a lot of support from a lot of people that are not just in my family, but outside of work.
All right. One final question from me is, if you had somebody out there today that was looking at possibly getting into the apprenticeship programs of any type or into the trades, would you recommend that they take that step?
For sure. Because it would be a good thing to learn, and it'd be a good trade to have, because they always, you can't ever learn too much. And I've done it, and I think it's a good deal for anybody to have a trade underneath their belt or something underneath their belt to fall back on if something ever happened, and I feel like I have a good solid backing for me having this under my belt, and because things can happen, and I feel like I've got a good solid thing under my belt, and I'm really glad that I got to meet you, Rocky, and the fact of you had somebody when I asked, and you kind of went through on it, and then you're like, what in the world's going on? 6 years has gone by, and he's a carpenter now. Yeah. So I would really suggest it.
All right.
Excellent.
Let me thank Jonathan for taking the time to do this with us today, and thank you, Daryl, his foreman there, that allowed him to come out here and do this, and thank Nabholz for allowing us to interview Jonathan today. And David, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of field the questions.
Rocky, I appreciate that, and thank you very much. And I believe we have yet to find a question in the chat. We've still got a couple of minutes, and we'll entertain those if they come in quickly. But Jonathan, while we're waiting, I want to also add my thanks to you. And as Rocky mentioned, to Daryl for making you available for us. This has been really informative. Something you said a minute ago struck a chord. You're talking about your family's reaction, and at first, construction, but then they started seeing some of the paychecks you were bringing home, and some of the ability for advancement and the upward mobility that was, at your fingertips there. It's, oh, you can do that. There's kind of a stigma still with blue collar jobs that you've probably seen with some of your friends as well coming up in school, right? Answer that. And then also you might want to weave into your answer what part the program over in Maryland when you were in high school before you returned to Little Rock, that shop class that you were taking, what part that played in your development as well?
Yeah, blue collar workers they're few and far between these days. A lot of the people want to, like I told you yesterday, David, a lot of the people want to get into the office is where a lot of people are going. But the one thing that led me into this in high school was they had it, and I had the drive to do it in high school, to be able to become a carpenter, to be able to do that apprenticeship program. And that's what I did. I went to high school, and I did it in high school for 2 years in high school, and I did it in high school till I moved to Little Rock back in 2010. I wasn't able to finish it out, but I got blessed to meet Rocky and be able to find somebody here that has an apprenticeship program, and it's really been an honor to do it and to be able to work for a company that has so many good benefits and so much help to push people up and put them through the apprenticeship program.
Excellent. Well, before we close it out, let's give one more opportunity, and either the chat or just ask directly if you want to unmute yourself if you have a question for Jonathan. We still have a minute or two.
Quick question.
We do? Okay, go ahead, Jenny.
Hey, hi, Jonathan. I'm Jenny Sales. I'm with the Reskill Arkansas program. And I just want to know, I see a lot of apprenticeship starter program, and they either, it's hard sometimes to push through. What was it that helped you be successful, that really pushed you to continue along the program when it was one of those days when you're like, I just don't want to do it anymore? but you did, and you have been successful. What was that one thing that you can give advice to somebody else that is going through this that will help them be successful?
It was I mean, I never had a day that I didn't say I didn't want to go to school. I didn't ever do that because I just, school was actually, I was learning something. So it was something I was learning. And like I told him before, the learning the plans thing was, the neatest thing to me. I was like, yeah, I need to learn this. If I'm being in this trade, I need to learn this stuff. And I think it mostly is the environment of the school, of the apprenticeship program and all that. And the environment that Nabholz gives in their apprenticeship program is a good environment, really good environment. And so I like the environment. So I was never missing school. And it was, and a lot of my coworkers are there. A lot of my coworkers take it and they do it. And, it was just it wasn't like going to school with, someone you don't know, but I knew a lot of them. And and the learning thing was a big deal, was the biggest deal for me. So
You think it's really important that you are set up for success by really following the skills and the trades that are natural to you, that you have a natural ability to?
yeah, I mean, if it's your calling, you can do it if it's your calling. And that's kind of what I've told my family before I got into it. It's my calling. I like it. I don't mind the hard work. I don't mind all this kind of stuff, working, sweating, all that kind of stuff, getting dirty. I don't mind it. It's what I like to do.
That's
I'm
what
a very high energy guy. So I just, it's end of the day, I'm beat tired, but I worked my butt off and I did it. And
a good day.
it was, yeah, very good day.
Mhm.
And then going to school, yes, it was hard at times to stay awake in school, but I fought through it and
Mhm.
I did it. So,
Real good, real good. Jenny, great question. In fact, you did such a good job with that question. Would you like to help on a day in the life, in our day in life interview tomorrow? Would you like to help with that?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so Jenny Sales with Reskill Arkansas at ACDS is going to help us as we interview Matthew Thomas of Tyson Foods. He's a general maintenance technician. So we'll find out all about that role in the manufacturing environment. That's tomorrow at the same time, 12 noon. And we invite all of you to be on with us then. And Thursday will continue. We're having day in the life interviews every day of National Apprenticeship Week. Thursday, Marie Stacks and Lonnie Emmert from ACDS will interview Taylor Otwell of Laravel, if I'm saying that correctly. I hope I am. He's a software developer there. So that'll be a tech-focused interview. And then Friday, we'll close out with kind of a unique apprenticeship. Turf management specialist Keaton Brown of Big Cedar. He works just over the state line at the Big Cedar Complex championship courses there. And he's a turf management specialist who got into that field through a registered apprenticeship program with North Arkansas College in Harrison. We're going to find out all about that on Friday, and that's also a 12 noon start. I want to thank Marie Stacks in particular, the team at ACDS, and a broader team that have worked on planning National Apprenticeship Week events and coordinating everything under the same umbrella so that we get recognition, because Arkansas has upwards of 30 events that the Federal Department of Labor is recognizing. So that's great. We're just trying to shine a spotlight on registered apprenticeship and on the various occupations that make it up. And so with nothing further, Marie, I think we can probably adjourn. Thanks to everybody for being with us today.